Hey everyone, it's Miss Joyce. Today we'll be solving multi-step word problems. Antoine buys 5 candy bars, 3 bags of chips, and 2 sodas. He gives the store clerk $10. What is the total amount of money that Antoine should receive back from the clerk? Well, first we have to find out how much the total bill is going to be when Antoine buys all of these items. Then we can find out how much change he'll get back. So let's start by drawing a tape diagram. The total amount that he's giving the store clerk is $10. With this $10, he's going to buy candy bars, bags of chips, soda, and he's going to get change back. So let's find out how much money those 5 candy bars are going to be. We know he's going to be buying 5 of the candy bars, and according to the table, each candy bar is worth 75 cents. So we're going to multiply 75 cents times 5 to see how much money he spends on candy bars. We can rewrite 75 cents as 75 hundredths since the 5 is in the hundredths place. Since the 5 in the next number, or in the next factor, is in the ones place, we can multiply this by 5 ones. First, let's multiply 5 times 5 to get 25. So place a 5 in the ones place, regroup the 2 to the tens place. Now we can multiply 5 times 7, which is 35, plus the 2 we regrouped is 37. Lastly, we can multiply the place values. Hundredths times ones is hundredths. Let's rewrite this number in standard form so we know how much money Antoine spent on candy bars. We can place the 5 in the hundredths place, the 7 is regrouped to the tenths place, and the 3 is regrouped to the ones place. Remember, the decimal point always goes between the ones and the tenths place. So Antoine spent $3.75 on candy bars. Now let's find out how much money he spent on chips. So here, we know that each bag of chips is going to cost $1.05, and we know that he bought 3 bags of chips. So we can multiply 1 and 5/100 times 3. Let's write these out vertically, which means one on top of the other. Since the 5 is in the hundredths place, we're writing this as 105 hundredths. Let's start by multiplying 5 times 3, which is 15. So place the 5 in the ones place, regroup the 1 to the tens place. Next, we can multiply 3 times 0 to get 0, plus the 1 we regrouped is 1. Now we can multiply 3 times 1, which is 3. When we multiply the place values, hundredths times ones, we get hundredths. We can rewrite this in standard form by placing the 5 in the hundredths place, the 1 is regrouped to the tens place, and the 3 is regrouped to the ones place. The decimal point always goes between the ones and the tenths place, so we can put it between the 3 and the 1. So Antoine spent $3.15 on chips. Now let's find out how much money he spent on soda. So we know that each soda is going to cost $1.10, and we can see that Antoine bought 2 sodas. So let's multiply 1 and 10/100 times 2. We can write these factors vertically, which means one on top of the other. Since the 0 is in the hundredths place, we can write this as 110 hundredths. Let's start by multiplying 2 times 0, which is 0. 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 1 is 2. We can multiply the place values, hundredths times ones, which is hundredths. Let's rewrite this number in standard form. So what we can do is we're going to place that 0 in the hundredths place. The 2 is regrouped to the tenths place, and the other 2 is regrouped to the ones place. The decimal point is going to go between the 2 and the 2, since it goes between the ones and the tenths place. So Antoine spent $2.20 on sodas. So now we found out how much money he's spending on each of these items. We need to figure out what the total cost of the bill was by adding these all together. So here I just put the numbers that he spent, or the amount of money that he spent for each item up here, so we can refer back to it. Here we have our tape diagram. We know that he spent $3.75 on candy bars, $3.15 on chips, and $2.20 on sodas. We need to figure out how much change he'll get back when he gives the clerk $10. So let's find out the total amount he spent by adding up the cost of all these items. So we're going to add all of these costs together, and we got these numbers from here, from our tape diagram. Starting with the hundredths place, 5 hundredths plus 5 hundredths plus 0 hundredths is 10 hundredths. So place a 0 in the hundredths place, regroup the 1 to the tenths place. When we add the tenths, 1 plus 7 is 8, plus 1 is 9, plus 2 is 11 tenths. So place the 1 in the tenths place, regroup the 1 to the ones place. Now let's add the ones place. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 3 is 7, plus 2 is 9. The decimal point goes between the ones and the tenths place. So for all of the items added up, Antoine spent a total of $9.10. We can now subtract this from $10 to figure out how much change he got back. So let's subtract 10 minus $9.10. Starting with the hundredths place, 0 minus 0 is 0. In the tenths place, 0 minus 1 we can't do, so we need to regroup. There are no ones, so we have to go all the way to the tens place to regroup. We're going to regroup 1 tenth, so that means there's 0 tenths left over. When we regroup that 1 tenth, we now have 10 ones. Now we can regroup from the ones place. So we'll regroup one of those ones, and now we have 9 ones left over, and we're going to rewrite that as 10 tenths. Now we can subtract the tenths place. 10 tenths minus 1 tenth is 9 tenths. And in the ones place, 9 minus 9 is 0. The decimal point goes between the ones and the tenths place. So that means that Antoine will be receiving 90 cents back in change. Let's try another problem. Kervin bought 15 treadmills for his new fitness center at $120 each. Then he bought 20 stationary bikes for $235 each. How much money did he spend on the new equipment? So we have our tape diagram here. Kervin is buying treadmills and bikes. We need to figure out the total cost of all of these equipment together. Let's first find out how much Kervin spent on treadmills. We can see from the word problem that Kervin bought 15 treadmills at $120 each. So we're going to multiply these numbers together to figure out how much he spent on treadmills. We'll line these numbers up vertically, which means one on top of the other. First, let's start by multiplying 5 times 0, which is 0. Now we can do 5 times 2, which is 10, so we'll place a 0 in the tens place, regroup the 1 to the hundreds place. Now we can multiply 5 times 1, which is 5, plus the 1 we regrouped is 6. So 120 times 5 is 600. Now let's multiply 120 times 10, since the 1 is in the tens place. Before we even start multiplying, let's place a 0 in the ones place. This will allow our answer to start in the tens place. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 1 is 1. So 120 times 10 is 1,200. We can add these products together to get our final product. 0 plus 0 is 0. In the tens place, 0 plus 0 is 0. In the hundreds place, 6 plus 2 is 8. And in the thousands place, nothing plus 1 is 1. So Kervin spent a total of $1,800 on treadmills. Now let's find out how much money he spends on bikes. So we can see from the word problem that Kervin is buying 20 bikes at $235 for each bike. We're going to multiply these numbers together. Let's start by lining these factors up vertically, which means one on top of the other. First, we're going to multiply 0 times 5, which is 0. Now we can multiply 0 times 3, which is 0, and 0 times 2, which is 0. So 235 times 0 is 0. Now let's multiply 235 times 20, since the 2 is in the tens place. First, we're going to place a 0 in the ones place, so that way our answer will start in the tens place. 2 times 5 is 10, so place a 0 in the tens place, regroup the 1 on top of the next digit that we're multiplying. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and 2 times 2 is 4. We can add these products together. 0 plus 0 is 0. In the tens place, 0 plus 0 is 0. In the hundreds place, 0 plus 7 is 7. And in the thousands place, nothing plus 4 is 4. So Curvin spent $4,700 on bikes. Let's add these two answers together to find the total amount of money that Curvin spent on the new equipment. So we're going to be adding 1,800 plus 4,700. Let's start by adding the ones place. 0 plus 0 is 0. In the tens place, 0 plus 0 is 0. In the hundreds place, 8 plus 7 is 15. So place the 5 in the hundreds place, regroup the 1 to the thousands place. And in the thousands place, 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 4 is 6. So Curvin spent $6,500 on all the new equipment. Let's try one more problem. Ivana and Myra are jewelry makers. Ivana makes 106 beaded necklaces. Myra made 14 more necklaces than Ivana. For part A, each necklace they make has 24 beads on it. How many beads did each girl use? How many beads did the girls use all together on the necklaces? So here's our tape diagram. Ivana is making some necklaces and Myra is making some more. We know from the word problem that Ivana made 106 necklaces. Myra made 14 more, so we need to figure out how many necklaces Myra made. We're going to add 106 plus 14 to find out the total amount of necklaces that Myra makes. In the ones place, 6 plus 4 is 10. So put a 0 in the ones, regroup the 1 to the tens place. In the tens place, 1 plus 0 plus 1 is 2. And in the hundreds place, 1 plus nothing is 1. So Myra makes 120 necklaces. We need to figure out the total amount of necklaces that both girls made all together. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 106 plus 120 to find out the total amount of necklaces made. In the ones place, 6 plus 0 is 0. In the tens place, 0 plus 2 is 2. And in the hundreds place, 1 plus 1 is 2. So the girls made 226 necklaces all together. Now let's find out how many beads the girls used for all 226 necklaces. We know from the word problem that there are 24 beads on each necklace. So we're going to be multiplying 226 times 24. We're getting 226 because that's the total number of necklaces that they made. And we're multiplying by 24 because that's the number of beads on each necklace. Let's start by multiplying the ones place. 4 times 6 is 24. So place a 4 in the ones place, regroup the 2 to the tens place. Now we can multiply 4 times 2, which is 8, plus the 2 we regrouped is 10. So place a 0 in the tens place, regroup the 1 to the hundreds place. Now we can multiply 4 times 2, which is 8, plus the 1 we regrouped is 9. So 226 times 4 is 904. Now let's multiply 226 times 20 since the 2 is in the ones or is in the tens place. We're going to place a 0 in the ones place before we even start multiplying. 2 times 6 is 12. So we'll place a 2 in the tens place, regroup the 1 on top of the next number we're multiplying. 2 times 2 is 4, plus the 1 we regrouped is 5. And 2 times 2 is 4. So 226 times 20 is 4,520. Let's add these products together. 4 plus 0 is 4. 0 plus 2 is 2. 9 plus 5 is 14, so place a 4 in the hundreds place, regroup the 1 to the thousands place. 1 plus 4 is 5. So the girls used 5,424 beads for all their necklaces. Now let's find out for part B. At a recent craft fair, Ivana sold each of her necklaces for $12. Myra sold each of her necklaces for $4 less. Who made more money at the craft fair? How much more? So we're starting with this tape diagram from the previous problem. Ivana makes a total of 106 necklaces and Myra makes 120 necklaces. What we're going to do is figure out how much money Ivana is going to make when she sells each necklace for $12. So we're going to multiply 106 times 12 since she has 106 necklaces and selling each one for $12. First, we're going to multiply the ones place. 2 times 6 is 12. So we'll place a 2 in the ones place, regroup the 1 to the tens place. Now we can multiply 2 times 0, which is 0, plus the 1 we regrouped is 1. Now let's multiply 2 times 1, which is 2. So 106 times 2 is 212. Now let's multiply 106 times 10 since the 1 is in the tens place. First, we'll put a 0 in the ones place. This will allow our answer to start in the tens place. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 0 is 0. And 1 times 1 is 1. So 106 times 10 is 1060. Let's add these products together. 2 plus 0 is 2. 1 plus 6 is 7. 2 plus 0 is 2. And 1 plus nothing is 1. So Ivana is going to be making $1,272. Now let's find out how much Myra is going to make. She's selling 120 necklaces, and hers are selling for $4 less. So we first need to find out how much money Myra is selling her necklaces for. So we know that she's selling them for $4 less than Ivana, and Ivana is selling hers for $12. So let's subtract 12 minus 4 to get 8. So Myra is selling each necklace for $8. So we can multiply 120 times 8 to figure out how much money Myra is going to be making. 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 2 is 16. So place the 6 in the tens place, regroup the 1 to the hundreds place. 8 times 1 is 8, plus the 1 we regrouped is 9. So Myra is going to be making $960. Based on our answers, we know that Ivana is going to be making more. Ivana is making $1,272. But we need to figure out how much more. So we're going to find the difference by subtracting 1,272 minus 960. So we'll subtract 2 minus 0 to get 2. 7 minus 6 is 1. 2 minus 9 we can't do, so we need to regroup. So we're going to regroup 1,000. So that means we have no thousands left. We're going to rewrite that as 10 more hundreds. We already have 2 hundreds here, so regrouping and rewriting it as 10 more hundreds would be a total of 12 hundreds. Now we can subtract the hundreds place. 12 minus 9 is 3. So Ivana is going to be making $312 more than Myra.